Jonathan Chandler here at the Virginia School of Traditional Arts. We'll do a little cast iron baking today. We're going to make some biscuits. What we're going to use is our little trivet. Get it off here. This is just 3 horseshoes welded together with some legs on it. We're going to make sure it sits down level. And all we're going to do to start with is set our cast iron pot on that. Near the fire, it doesn't have to be on the fire. And I'm just going to put a coal or 2 under it. Let me get some of these little sticks here. That'll be fine. Mash them around under it here a little bit, just to start getting it warmed up. And we might even put one up on the top, just to start getting her warmed up. We're going to take you over and we're going to mix up our dough for our biscuits. Alright, welcome today to the Virginia School of Traditional Arts. We're going to be making us some of my nanny's biscuits. I watched my grandmother Nanny make biscuits every day that she was with us, that I remember at least. And so we're going to go over her recipe. She didn't measure anything. I'm going to measure it today so we can get you a good idea of what it's like, but she didn't measure anything ever, and they always turned out the same. And what we're using today is biscuit flour. It's different than all-purpose flour. It's self-rising. It has the rising agent in it already, and we're going to use 2 cups, maybe just a smidge over 2 cups, because my cup, I don't like to pack my cup in I don't like to pack it in there. So we're going to put just a little bit more than 2 cups in there. We need some reserve flour for later, and so we're going to pour us out a little bit on the side of our board here. Self-rising biscuit flour, 2 cups, maybe just a smidge over 2 cups. And then we're going to use Crisco, and this has been kept in my refrigerator. This is cold, so we want to keep it that way, and we're going to use approximately 2 tablespoons. We'll make it fit on the tablespoon so you can see it. There, we'll call that 1.5. There's 2 tablespoons. And put the top back on our Crisco, but cold is important. We want this ingredients cold. Some people keep their flour in the refrigerator. My grandmother never did, so I don't. And then we're just going to take our hand and we're just going to break this Crisco up and make the flour coated, basically. I'll try to turn it so y'all can see what I'm doing. Basically just smashing it with my fingers and squishing it and rolling it and getting that Crisco to break up. And when it breaks up, the flour coats it and it leaves a little, kind of looks like, not exactly rice size, but something like rice size, little clumps in there of the Crisco, the cold Crisco. So that's what we got after that. And you can kind of tell when it's right if it's not all flour anymore, if it's some bumps and lumps and stuff in there. You don't want great big huge lumps, but you want some lumps in there. Alright, and you can use other things than Crisco. You can use butter, you can use shortening, you can use whatever you have. But to make it flaky, you need some kind of grease in it. You need some kind of probably even use bacon grease if you had to in a pinch. But anyhow, so we've got that, and we've got us some buttermilk. And if you don't have buttermilk, you can make your own buttermilk. Basically, you take regular milk or even cream, half and half. My wife always has half and half. She likes coffee. And you can take half and half and put either lemon juice in it or vinegar in it and let it set for 5 or 6 minutes, and it'll curdle. It gives you buttermilk. This is real buttermilk. And we're going to put about a cup in here. And I'm going to save just a little bit out of my cup, maybe a quarter of a cup. It never works out perfectly every time, so these are estimate portions here. And so you kind of got to mix it up and see what it looks like. You may need to put a little more flour, may put a little more buttermilk in it. What we want is a dough ball, and I'll mix it so y'all can see it a little bit here. We want it to come into a ball and be a soft dough, not a hard like a pie dough, soft kind of dough. So we're going to put a little more milk in this. We'll just drizzle it around. We'll just use the rest of that. So that looking right. We'll scoop up all of our flour and put it together. And you don't want to mix this forever. This is not the kind of thing that benefits from kneading. Alright, so we've got it pretty much in a dough state here. It's not loose anymore. So we're going to stop there. We're going to take a pinch of our flour here. We're going to rub it on our hands so it don't stick. And make us a little bit on our board so it don't stick to our board. And we're going to roll this out of here. And get it off our spoon. We're done with our spoon. And all we're going to do now is just get it together. We want it to be one kind of thing. We don't want big lumps and clumps breaking off of it. We want it to look more or less smooth. And all I'm doing is just getting it to where it's kind of congealed together like that. And that's where we're going to stop. See, I did not need that very much at all. I didn't need it at all, but I did make it come together. And so we'll do it one more time since I found that other little piece. Here's another little piece of it. Had a few little pieces out here in the sides I didn't get. But we'll just make that come into a circle. Alright. And then we're going to make sure our board is floured here. And put a little bit on the top. And put a little bit on our rolling pin. Now you don't have to have a cutting board. You don't have to have a rolling pin. You can roll with a tin can, like a soup can. You can put instead of having a cutting board, you can put it right on your table or right on your tablecloth. This is a plastic tablecloth. And you know, just get it where someplace is clean and flat. You don't even have to roll it. You can just mash that with your hand. That will work. I like to roll it because my grandmother liked to roll it. And so that's what I do. I do it like she did it. She made biscuits every morning of her life. And we want to roll it out to where it's level and about a ½ an inch thick. And this should make us approximately 8 biscuits, something like that. Approximately a ½ an inch thick. If you've got thick places or thin places, that's okay. It's not a critical thing, but alright. And then you got choices on what to use to cut it. My grandmother used a Tupperware, a real Tupperware, tall Tupperware cup. She cut her biscuits with that every morning. Unfortunately, I don't have that. I usually use the bought biscuit cutter. It's plastic. It does a good job. Lots of people will use a mason jar, cannon jar top. Depends on what your preference is. This is a small mouth jar. You can use the big mouth ones, and they call those cat head biscuits if they're great big. We're going to cook these in the Dutch oven today, so great big doesn't fit in our Dutch oven good, so smaller is better. So of these two, this one is a little smaller, so that's what I'm going to use today. We're just going to rub some flour on it. Trick to making good biscuits is push straight down and don't twist. If you twist, when you twist it, it doesn't let it rise. So we're going to make sure we got a little flour on this every time. And we're going to take it over here and push straight down. And we can slide it sideways a little bit, but we don't want to twist if you want to, I brought out the salt. If you want to, you can add salt to this mixture. My grandmother never added any salt, but lots of people do. If you use butter instead of the Crisco, that adds salt if you use salted butter, of course. Get over here where we're getting all of it. And once you go a few times, you don't have to flour this thing every time. You'll know when it starts sticking. It'll start sticking on you. See if we can get one more. There we go. We'll get one more. All right, we're just going to take these and pop these over here on the side. Our Dutch oven is warming up. When it gets warm, we'll take them over there and chuck them over in it. And the first biscuits, which is what these are called here, the first biscuits that you initially roll out will always rise and look prettiest. Now this here, don't throw this away. We're going to make another biscuit out of this. But this will be a second biscuit, and it's basically meant that it's been worked twice, so it's usually a tougher biscuit, but it will eat no trouble whatsoever. It tastes just about as much. It's just not as tender. Usually doesn't look quite as pretty. And we might even get two out of this. Alright, and so those are our second biscuits. And then what I do with this last little bit, you can make another biscuit out of this, no trouble, make it look like the other ones. But what I do with this, we have a couple of dogs, so I make these a dog biscuit, so I'll make them look like a little dog bone. And give them to the dogs. They like a little biscuit once in a while too, so there's my little dog bone biscuits. And here at the Virginia School of Traditional Arts, we do offer cooking classes. We're probably going to set up our cooking classes to start in the fall. With this coronavirus deal going on, it's no fun for anybody trying to run a business. And we don't really run a business. We are a non-profit. The cost of the classes just go to provide the materials and to pay the instructors. Alright, we got one little coal on the top and a couple on the bottom. We're just warming our oven up a little bit. These can be too hot, too quick, real easy. We want to take it off without spilling a lot of ash in our thing like we just did. Wasn't even. Alright, we're going to put our Crisco down in here. We're just going to run that around a little bit. Hopefully it'll melt, because we want it not to stick to our pot. And I've just got a napkin here. We're just going to run it around on that so it'll not stick to the cast iron. In a pinch, you can put your bread right on the coals if you need to. In a pinch. We're not there yet, but maybe one day we'll get there. Make sure we get all of that out. Alright. We're putting our biscuits in. We're just going to put them around, leave a little space between them if we can. If we can't, that's okay too. Stick our dog biscuits in there. And our pot is not hot at this moment. It's warm, it's not cold, but it's not crazy hot. And that's what we want. We don't want it crazy hot. If you get it too hot, these will burn for sure. Do some adjusting. That one's a little thicker. I'm going to put him, switch this one. That one's a little thicker than these others, so I'm going to put him over here next to the side. Put the thin ones in the middle. Alright, it's probably been 5 minutes or so. We're going to take our top and spin it. Take our pot and spin it. Alright. And we're going to give her another 5 minutes or so on that setting, and then we may flip them over. Sometimes we have to flip them over to brown them on the top. That's a pretty big cast iron Dutch oven there to get the whole top hot. But anyhow, we'll bring you back when we do that. We're going to take a peek, see what it looks like. It's been another 5 minutes or so. We'll see if they're doing anything on the bottom. The tops are looking raw still. The bottoms aren't doing anything much either. We're going to put us a little more coals on it. Looks like our coals are out here and the wind is blowing. Our pot's getting warm, but it's not warm enough, I guess. So we're going to put a few more coals on that thing. We got some more coals up on the top here. We're going to get over that and set her down. See what we got now. Starting to look a little bit more done. Let's check the bottoms. Bottoms are looking more done. Just a few more minutes and we'll have some biscuits to eat. We're going to twist our top again and twist our bottom so it gets even heat. I don't know if I twisted it that time, probably not. That's twisted. And that's twisted. Oop. Thing was bobbing. Sit on there good. There we go. Right. Yeah, those bottoms are looking brown now. Look at that. Getting them brown. Get you down in there. See that one that's flipped over? So all we're going to do is just flip them over, let them brown on the top. So it shouldn't take me just a second. We got biscuits already. They're done. They're just not brown on the top. Go with the fork. Those rose nicely. The thicker ones rose up nice. And we'll flip our dog biscuits over too. Like I say, they're feeling done. They just need browning a little bit. So we'll put our top back on and we'll twist them again. And we'll twist our bottom again one last time. I made us a few more coals. I didn't know if that was going to do it or not, but I think that's about doing it. May chunk a few of these coals over there. Get too hot too fast, you burn them up. We browned them on the top. That's what we were wanting. Smokes hard on my eyeballs. Use my paw again. We're going to call those done. Done. Like I say, we was almost done with them. We just wanted to brown them. I just left them on there just a little bit too long. I just leaving them on there about another 5 minutes. And apparently that was too long. We got them just a little bit too brown, but they'll still eat. I'm sure they're fine. Well, I just broke one of them in half there to see if it's done in the middle. She's done in the middle. A little browner on the top than I probably would have liked, just a minute or two. But plenty done, tastes good. We're going to take them in the house and eat them with some Brunswick stew we made over this same campfire the other day. Now to extinguish your fire, I gather it all together. And we could cook more things over this fire if we wanted to cook some more stuff, but we're done for now. It's starting to rain on us. And we're gonna pour that on there. We're gonna stir it around a little bit. Get it where it'll go out. And your shovel, you ought to dig down a little bit. A lot of times your fire's deeper in the ground than you ever think. It may be 6 or 7 inches down in the ground sometimes. This one shouldn't be. We hadn't had it going very long. We're going to ground her again, and I'll keep an eye on this the rest of the night, even though it's going to rain. Come here. Sit. Come here. Sit. You want your biscuit? Tell me. Tell me. All right, there's your biscuit. Yum. This is the Virginia School of Traditional Arts Cast Iron Cooking Series. We hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, like and subscribe at the bottom.